big talking point in economies across the world, the goings-on in Saudi Arabia and that attack on Saudi Arabian oil facilities, sending that oil price spiking. What is the latest?
Yes, indeed. And of course, Marcel, we look at this because ultimately a rise in oil prices affects the prices of everything from petrol to other goods and commodities that we use. It's inflationary. Here's the background. As we said throughout the morning, on Saturday, coordinated strikes on key Saudi Arabian oil facilities. They're among the world's largest energy production centers. Now, when those strikes hit, it disrupted 5% of the daily global oil supply. Yemen's Houthi rebels claiming responsibility for the attacks, but they are often seen to be backed by Iran. Now, we must remember there are about two triggers for the oil price. One is when demand increases due to a growing world economy. One generally sees a gradual surge in the oil price. But today, or this weekend, was somewhat different. Whenever there is a disruption fear, as in the case with this attacks, we see that knee-jerk surge, as we're seeing at the far end of that screen there. When the attack occurred, we had a surge in the oil price, in fact, about 10% up from the previous level to close to $70 a barrel. And as I said, that's a 10% surge after the incident. How does this oil price compare to where we were over the past year when you look at those figures? Well, there's the thing. From October last year to round about now, October last year, we saw the oil price surging at about $80 a barrel. So in fact, we are now still about 16% lower at this stage. But the reason why we are tracking this is that you'll also remember around this time of the year last year, the price of petrol here in South Africa was at record highs. So again, we are 16% lower than we were in that period last year. But what does this mean for the petrol price and all other inflationary related items is important. So as we take a closer look at this January this year, for 93 unleaded petrol inland, you paid, Marcel, 13 Rand 79 cents. And then, of course, we had the Rand weakening. We had levies coming in after the February budget. And that drove the price of 93 octane petrol to 15 Rand 83. So we are very interested at this point in time to see what happens if that oil price sustains that high amount. What could it mean? Just a quick one. From preliminary calculations, we were expecting the petrol price to drop round about 11 cents come October. With this incident, could that still be the case? So just very quickly as I wrap up this session, the concerns of the surging oil prices right there in front of you. One, we could see higher petrol prices. Two, it costs money and it costs fuel to transport everything from food to manufacturing goods. So we could see some price increases there if this oil price is sustained. And then lastly, the South African Reserve Bank, Marcel, on Thursday, will find out whether or not the interest rate has been cut or stays the same. One of the things, very importantly, that the Reserve Bank considers are oil price movements. And I suppose what happened over the weekend will indeed have an effect in their considerations ahead of Thursday.
The knock-on effects are astounding. I mean, to think that the geopolitics of that oil-rich region will just add more fuel to the fire, which is our economy already, pardon the pun. Are we seeing any reaction on local markets to all of this news yet?
It's intricately tied to the markets. Let's take a look as we look at the JSE today. For starters, Sasol, which does very well with a higher oil price, is up more than 5%. That's pulling the market up. Gold and platinum miners are benefiting as the price of gold usually surges under these conditions. So we've got a very healthy JSE based on that news. Banks also very high this afternoon with financials 1.7% up. What's this done to the Rand? Well, there is uncertainty in the global environment, and when this happens, you have emerging market currencies, the Rand being one of them, taking a bit of a hit. So the Rand is somewhat weaker against the US dollar, 14 Rand 67 cents, 16 Rand 19 for a euro, and Marcel, for British pound, around about 18 Rand 25 cents.